I'm Josh Farley, president of Redline Electric and Solar. Join me as we talk to contractors, business owners, and experts who are willing to share their experiences to help you overcome obstacles when you're taking your business up and to the right. Hey, good morning. We're here with Sam and Miranda Jones. They're the co-owners of Iron Automation and Fabrication. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us.
Tell us what you do and who you do it for.
Are you going to start?
I'll start. Well, we own Iron Automation and Fabrication, as Josh said. We specialize in automating gate systems, any kind of access control, fencing, so on. We do it for pretty much everyone. We range from the simplest of pedestrian gates at a residence to the most elaborate ornate gates you can possibly think of, to commercial, industrial type stuff.
You guys build the gate as well?
Yes.
And the automation as well. So you're like iron, steel, wood, anything?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll actually do ground up. We'll even do our own piping and everything else if we
Gotcha.
need to.
That's cool. So do you guys have a specific niche? What's a favorite customer of yours, or what do you guys want more of?
We like property management companies. Not only do they have multiple people to work with, they have multiple areas to work at.
Gotcha. More locations?
Yes, it's a lot easier
It's a
for
lot
us
easier. We have one contact. We build relationships with the property managers.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like I have to constantly try to build their trust. I can pretty much
Got
tell
it.
them that this is what's going on and it needs to be fixed.
Right. We deal with property managers as well, and also sometimes they'll stop working for that company and go to another company,
Right.
and it'll be an
Bring us
opportunity for us to get in there.
Right.
How did you guys get your start? Like, what made you guys go into business, and to decide to work together?
Well,
That's a
we met each other at work, working for somebody
Oh, really?
Yeah,
In the
so-
industry?
in the
Yes.
industry.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been a service technician for about 15 years. He's been building gates and fence.
You're a service technician?
Yes.
Okay, so that's rare to see any female in the service technician kind of position.
Correct.
Okay, well, that's cool. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
I've been an electrician for 25 years, and I think I've only met one other female electrician.
Right.
I started roughing and trimming houses.
Awesome, yeah.
So I started in the electrical. I took some engineering robotics classes in high school and into college. Was extremely into the electronics and trying to figure out how stuff worked.
Right.
And then loved the idea of just building and creating my own stuff. You know, someone says, I want to do this, and it's like, okay, let me figure out how I can make that happen. So I started out, in the service industry and was doing that for various different companies. And then had always dreamed of owning my own.
Right.
It was just something I wanted to do, especially when you get to the point where you top out and you want to learn more and do more. And, the companies you work for pretty
Right.
much say, that's it.
No opportunity for advancement.
Yeah,
Right.
Right. I felt the
there's-
same thing before I started my company.
So I started working at another gate company that's now our competitor, and he also worked there doing the installs department. It's kind of funny because we did not like each other from the beginning. Different,
No.
absolutely
Different
did not.
personalities,
Got
different
it,
everything,
okay.
different
Right.
fields of expertise and so on. So.
And then we kind of hit it off one day and kind of worked really well as a team.
Got it. Opposites attract. Now you
Yes.
guys have two different skill sets, which probably helps you in your business today.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah, I think we've actually taught each other quite a bit about each
So
other.
how did you get into this business?
Oh, I started fabricating when I was probably 10 years old.
Your dad?
Yeah, just building stuff all the time.
My dad was an electrician, so that's
Yeah.
kind of, I followed right in that footsteps. Same
Yeah,
thing?
They were, well, no, he was a Fed, but he always was building something,
Gotcha.
always. And that just kind of, I was a kid and I was allowed to make fire and sparks, and
Right.
that attracted me, so I was allowed to do it. So I
Gotcha.
just kept kind of building on it. So I started fabricating actually for a company when I was 13. And then as an after school and a summertime job and so on. And then I kept working with that company until I was about, 16 or 17. And then took off overseas and whatnot. But after that, I I always kept doing it. I just kept building.
Right.
It's one thing I've always liked doing. If it's made out of steel, I'll build it, no matter what.
So when did you guys, I guess, marriage, that came before the business or after the business?
Before.
It came before.
So how did you start Iron Automation?
Because somebody told us we couldn't.
That's like the biggest slap in the face. Like, no.
Yeah. Somebody told us they
Yeah,
couldn't. Somebody told us that they would actually do everything in their power to stop us.
Gotcha.
So we decided to go ahead and do it on our own.
So it
And
kind of
prove them wrong.
put that flame under us just to make it
Is
happen
that
that
an
much.
old employer?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So tell me, is it easy?
Is starting the company or
Yeah.
Which part?
Yeah.
working together?
Like what?
It's not easy. It's not easy, especially. I mean, it is easy, but it's not. I mean, you have to have the heart. You have to have the want
Yep.
to do it. You kind of. It's hard in a sense of when you're starting out, you're out in the field doing it, and you're also in the office doing it. So you're constantly going at it.
Right.
Like in our situation, we have 4 kids. Where it's
Gotta
not the
keep you
only
busy,
thing
right.
that goes on, you know. So between billing and invoicing, you're taking them to football practice and doing all the other family stuff that you have to remember to do. You can't
Right.
just cut that out. I mean, that's the most important, is finding a time in your day to say, I'm done.
Right.
You know, now it's my family time.
I think that sets you apart from a lot of entrepreneurs because it's hard to turn it off. I only have 2 children, but it's hard. Like when I started my business, it was in the field, and then when you come home, time to spend time for family, that was the time I had to do the invoicing
Right.
and the estimating and all the stuff that goes on. So to have the team work together probably makes it a lot better. What are some of the things that you, looking back when you first started, when you left your competition, that's who they are now, right? What would you do differently?
We had from my opinion, his might be a little different. I think we started off really good and hit it hard, and we started to get a little bit bigger than we needed to be, too fast,
Right.
and kind of noticed it and cut back immediately, just so that we could. Get a ground basis and grow from there, as opposed to getting out of hand and not being able to handle the extra
Right.
workload. So I think that would be, for my opinion, the one thing I would have done a little differently was to just pay more attention at the beginning. I think we'd be a little bigger right now had I not had to go through that
Gotcha.
short step of getting a little bit too big too fast.
Gotcha.
And then having to back off and then
then-
regroup. And
You
try
agree?
over. Absolutely.
Anything
Yeah,
else?
we started off.
I mean, you guys have to have difference of opinions on some things. I'm
Well, we
sure.
have different opinions on almost everything, but I think I agree with her in the sense that we started off, we never advertised, and we started off right out of the gate with about 20 open projects.
Gotcha.
And we immediately went into just a little history. When I started the original company, it was just me and one truck. For 2 years, she was my supplier. And then after that 2 years, I brought her on, and as soon as I brought her on, it was like immediate 4 trucks on the road and 8 employees.
Right.
We had no idea what we were doing, and yet we're running too many things, too many jobs, too many crews, too many everything at one time.
Right.
And we literally jumped right into, without even researching what it even took to run a company.
Right.
Not necessarily a bad thing to just take the leap of faith, but don't go at it too headstrong.
Right.
Don't go at it to the point where you can't control what's going on.
Don't be afraid to turn down projects. Don't be afraid to tell people no.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I say things are good to know. And
Right.
know, like you just have to let them know, because if you give them a bid, even if you know that's all they want is a bid, but if you can't provide the work to be done when the
Right.
time comes, then they're going to be like, why'd you even give me a bid? And
Right.
then they get a bad taste in their mouth.
Right.
So what kind of systems you guys are putting in place as far as to develop a scaling business model, or are you looking to grow?
I definitely want to grow. And that's
Right.
something we are working on at the moment. We talked about it on the way here.
Right.
So it's just being careful about it and making sure we take the correct steps, in growing so that we don't make a mistake that you can't back away from or you can't get out of.
Right.
So that's probably to me the scariest thing.
Well, jumping from service technician, you guys were both in the field,
Right.
as was I, to being a business owner. It's a whole different mindset. You have to learn a whole new skill. I tell people I masqueraded as a business owner for the first 6 years of my business because I was just a business owner. But I didn't do anything different. I didn't, I wasn't reading any books or trying to better my business. I was just, we were getting the work. We were doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which
it's
is
pretty,
kind of what
it's
we're
pretty
at.
much where we were. But I knew that in order for me to get to the next level, I had to start putting processes into place. And some of the processes, it's hard to teach your technicians to do new things or to change things.
Right.
And I had some issues with some of my technicians. Were like, you didn't do it like this the last 6 years. I'm like, well, but this is how I want to do it now.
Right.
And some of those guys that helped get me to this level weren't the guys that were going to help me get me to the next level.
Right. So because it's as you know, electrician can be a highly specialty.
Yep.
You guys get asked to do things that people have never heard of.
Correct.
All kinds of stuff. Kind of the same thing for me as a service technician. There's so much new stuff coming out, and I was telling him the other day I have to back off and let somebody else do what I'm doing so
Right.
that I can go and learn all this new technology. Because if I don't, it's going to leave me in the dark.
Right.
And that is kind of what we're dealing with right now with all this new cloud-based stuff and
Automation.
Yeah.
All the stuff like on your smartphones, like you can probably open the gate and close the gate from your cell phone or inside control panels. You guys have automated lights that come on when they pull in the drive, and
I've done some
all sorts
stuff.
of pretty
Yes.
cool stuff that that we take for granted when it works.
Mm-hmm.
Just like electrical, they take for granted when it works, but when it goes bad or when it stops working, they can't get out or in. Let's talk about that. When they can't get out, like what happens if the power shuts down?
The gates are. It depends on if it's equipped with it or not. The city of Phoenix and all the surrounding cities have pretty much went to battery backup requirements.
Gotcha.
Battery backup requirements are awesome because on a power fail, the gate's going to open and stay open until power returns and resume back to
So
normal.
they just default to open.
The problem
It's all
with
a
that.
new UL listing.
Gotcha.
New UL laws state that every gate has to open upon power fail, no matter what.
Gotcha.
So pretty much every operator being sold nowadays is going to be built with a battery backup, or it's actually a DC operator that runs on batteries.
Gotcha.
Kind of eliminates the whole use of having the old operators that were only AC with a separate battery backup unit and so on. It kind of takes the guesswork out of whether or not the gates are going to open.
Gotcha. But you definitely need somebody to keep up on it because
If
there's
they're
a lot of
maintained
stuff.
properly, that's the big.
That's right. Don't forget.
So it has to be maintained. You have a system that's not maintained. Batteries, here in Arizona don't
Right.
last very long.
Mm-hmm.
Even your vehicles. You could buy a new vehicle and have to put a battery in it in 6 months.
A
But-
year I just bought a new Ram, and the next year I had to put new batteries in already.
Gates are the same way. If you install a new operator and expect that battery to be still working in 6 years when you actually need it,
Right.
if you haven't maintained it or tested it, then it's going to fail.
Right. So you guys do both service, installation. Which you like better, service or installation? Service or installation?
Yes, pretty
I
much.
bet that conversation
Well, it
could
depends.
go on for a while.
It depends on where I'm at and what I'm doing.
Right.
If I'm in Phoenix, I like the service better. If I'm up in Prescott or Flagstaff, whatnot, I like the installs
Installation.
It depends on what time of year it is.
better. Yeah, if it's too hot down
Do you
here.
guys have a busy season? A busy season?
We actually do. It goes up and down, but between service and installs.
Right.
So our apartment complexes and customers and things like that have an end-year budget where they start asking for
Gotcha.
estimates.
More commercial space.
Our city people are trying to use the funds that they saved for the work that they
Right.
wanted to do for the year. And then
Residential's trying to use their tax money to pay for improvements.
Gotcha.
But it's not really a busy season per se or a slow season per se. It's just more of a
Well, right now business is booming for everybody.
yeah.
Right.
But it's more of a when service slows down, the install picks up.
Right.
When install slows down, the service picks
So
up.
you
we
balance
could
each other
actually-
out nicely.
Yeah, and we actually all end up going out there. She's about the only one I know that'll go out there with a welding helmet and weld with me and the guys and
That's
get
great.
things done at the same time. Whereas where all of our technicians are not only just technicians, but they're also installers.
Gotcha.
Everybody we have has a little bit of, except for one guy that we have that does nothing but literally goes around and maintenance all of our operators. That's his job.
Right.
But everybody is cross-trained into both departments.
Got it.
And we'd like to train everybody from ground up, meaning you better know what we need to put underground. And you better know how it's supposed to go underground, because everything we do is inspected. If we can't pass the inspections, you're costing me money. If you're costing me money,
Right.
boss ain't happy. But everybody should be able to go out there and be able to build it, and then turn around if it breaks a year later or something, if somebody runs into it, so on, they better be able to go out and fix it at the same time.
How do you guys find new technicians?
It's really hard.
Yeah.
It is hard.
It's very hard.
That's why I'm asking.
We have really no database to choose from, because what we do is electromechanical.
Right.
So we have a
Jack of all
just
trades.
yeah, we have a mixture of people that will apply. Everybody hears the word gates and they think, okay, well, I'm a welder, so I can apply
Right.
for that job. Well, I'm sorry, but we don't need a welder.
Right.
We need somebody that can fabricate, and welding is not fabricating. I don't
Where do you
care
put
what
your
anyone
ads
says.
out?
We don't.
Oh, you don't?
No, we don't even advertise. We don't advertise anything. We've
It's-
never
it's
So,
word of
advertised.
mouth.
gotcha. So you just tell your friends you're looking for more people,
Well,
and that
usually
works?
somebody comes up to us, or somebody
Gotcha.
that we knew from another company will come up to us and say, hey, we're looking for a new line.
Gotcha.
We have our people that we've known. Like our current foreman now, I've known him since we were 10.
Oh, wow.
And he's worked with me with 2 previous companies. He actually worked with me.
Gotcha.
But
Well,
he's now the foreman of what we do.
Well, let me change it. So how do you find new customers?
We don't do that either. They come
Just
to
word
us.
of mouth.
Well, I use Facebook.
Yeah.
I also have a LinkedIn account.
Gotcha.
I have an Instagram account.
Right.
I have a website that I've never
you're
had
doing
time to finish.
you're doing marketing of some sort.
Yeah,
Right.
so we have that, but to be honest with you, most of it's word of mouth. Our people we sub for
Right.
refer us out when they call in, and just other companies and apartments in general. They'll say, hey, our maintenance guy said he used you at this property. We'd like to bring you in
Right.
on this property.
We do a lot of word of mouth as well, but I know that in order to get to the next level, I got to start something. So
Right.
I'm always asking.
That's
so
where
I
we're
can pick
afraid
up
of.
some tips and tricks.
We need to know, and I was telling her, we need to know what's going to happen if we do start advertising. If we start advertising, how much are we going to start turning down as opposed to what we
Right.
can start picking up?
Well, and that's
And I don't
tough
wanna
right
turn
now
down too
because
much.
there's such a supply of technicians.
Right.
It's so hard to find qualified help that if you do advertise and you don't have the person to do it, it's
Exactly.
definitely tough.
Running us around is
What do you do to retain the guys you got?
well, I like to think that we pay well.
Right?
I mean, pay is what we call above industry standard.
Yep.
And I like my reasons more than hers, but my reasons are because, number one, I want to keep them. Number two, I don't want them stealing from me. And number three, I want them to enjoy what they're doing.
Right.
If I don't pay well, we start finding people that they'll get assigned a job, and all of a sudden they're going to call in the next day. Or they're going to get assigned a job they don't like doing.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I can
I'm
go work
stuck
for
doing
somebody
it.
else.
Right. Got it. And you don't like that. And then
And
does that ever boil over to come home with you, as far as you guys disagreements?
I'm never going
Right.
to say we've never argued about work, because that would be a lie.
Right.
I think we do, the past couple years we've really learned to let it go, and I'm sure when we let it go, it's the first thing we talk about the next morning.
Right.
But you have to let it go. You can't bring your work home with you. Otherwise, you'll get burnt out yourself.
Right.
And you get to the point where you're like, you know what? I would just rather work for somebody. I don't want to do this anymore.
Have you been close? You ever think? I was gonna
We've
say
been
that's
close.
the question. Have you ever thought about quitting, or maybe just one of you stepping back, or?
Not really.
No.
I've been doing this since I was a teenager. So.
Right.
I think we've threatened in a couple of heated arguments, but that's about it.
I've argued with my wife, and I think it just makes us stronger.
Yeah.
And it seems like the farther the arguments become, and I can't remember the last time I've had one.
Yeah.
It's pretty much the same with us. I mean, we'll have our disagreements. And,
Can't remember what it was the night before, but
Right.
I know what happened.
Right.
But usually it's not to the point where I can remember probably only one occasion when I said, you know what, fine, you handle it all. I'll go work for somebody else, and let's
Right.
But to
Let's
answer
be competitors, but
to
Right.
answer your question, in my opinion, as far as employees, I mean, I try to be family based.
Gotcha.
I'm big into my office manager this morning. You know, my son's got a award. I need to be off until 8:30, 9 o'clock. Perfectly fine. You know,
Right. So you're being recognized at school. Right.
yeah, I mean, we don't want our employees to get burnt out.
Right.
We want them to. The family's important. Like our Christmas parties and stuff. We don't just go to dinner with them and
hand out a couple checks.
hand out a couple checks.
We took them.
I've done that a couple times. Let's not talk too bad about that.
Our last one was our last one. We took all of our employees and their immediate family members to a ski trip.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, paid for the kids to do all this training skiing together, especially the little ones.
I would
you
love to
know.
do something like that. However, there's always the one guy that's on call
Yes.
that I think about. I'm like, so now I'm looking for a partner, another electrical contractor. Maybe we can partner. And,
We've actually done
We've
that
done
as well.
that.
gotcha.
We'll call up a couple gig companies that we know that
See.
are
Take
they're
our
almost our
emergency
equals.
calls for us. Let's share some. Let's share some
Exactly.
service guys.
and we've got something coming in. We'll let everybody know. All of our customers. We'll send out a blast. We're going to be gone for a week.
Gotcha.
If you need an emergency, give us a call. If you have an emergency, give us a call. If you really need somebody there right now, here's a number.
Yep.
They'll set us up. Or
Oh,
set
that's
you up.
great.
Yeah, I've got competitors that are, you know, they'll call me and say, "Hey, have you ever heard of this?" Or
Right.
I'm going to go away this weekend. Can you cover me? You know, so it's nice in our industry to have.
Well,
the
friends are
backs.
better. I mean, if you're friends with your competition, it makes it better all around.
Some of our competition.
Some of your competition, not the last ones. We won't talk about that. What do you think you as a contractor, or what do you think contractors should do better and why? Or what do you think you guys should be doing better? So there's been times where I've booked 4 people to shoot this show, contractors, and they just don't show up.
Right.
I mean,
Oh,
the flakes,
absolutely.
they don't answer the phone.
That's absolutely right.
Follow up
do what you
more.
say you're going to do.
Follow up. Do what you say you're
Just
going to do.
do what you say you're going to do. If you say you're going to do it, do it.
Right.
If you're not going to be able to make it, most customers and most people and most everybody in this world, all they want is a simple phone call.
I would
Right.
agree with that, and I'm bad
You
about
might-
that sometimes.
You might get a little, oh man, or a little,
Right. It's just matter of
chastising,
fact.
but-
Shit happens.
right. But not knowing is worse than you making that little phone call. That
Right.
customer's going to sit there and be waiting for you. No. Just do what you say you're going to do. And don't take on too much.
Right.
If the customer calls you up and says, I want this and this and this and this and this, and you know that you can do most of it, be upfront and tell them, I can do
Right.
this, but I'm not comfortable doing this.
Yeah, I think we all could, definitely take that to heart, because there are some things, like you said, you don't do it all the time, or sometimes it slips, and we get busy and we forget. Before, I'll tell a guy, I'll answer the phone, hey, I call you right back, and 14 hours later, oh crap.
Yep.
I do that. more
It's
than
it's
you.
happened for sure. It happens to us all. What keeps you guys up at night? Like what kind of?
I do the books too.
Okay. Somebody's got to.
I do the accounting side.
Right.
I mean, I have an office manager that runs the service, and kind of, writes all the work orders and puts them in the book and gets everything in line and makes the appointments and stuff. But I still handle all the financials and, paying the bills and all that kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff I would say keeps me up at night, because I'm on the back end of the financial side
Right.
of, this person needs to pay us, or I need to
Right.
pay this person, and making sure that I keep up my end of the bargain with my subs, for example. It's important to them that they get paid. So
Well, that's why we work for money.
Yeah,
I
with me,
have to
it's-
set
It's
aside
just
the
a
time
trade,
to make sure
give and
that-
take, right, for sure.
With me, it's just scheduling and making sure the jobs are actually done properly. That's what keeps me up at night. Because if I'm not on the site, I'm the type of person that if it's not done like I want it done, then it's not done right.
Right.
But I have to learn to step back as well. But so it doesn't necessarily keep me up at night, but I'm telling you, as soon as I open my eyes in the morning, that's the first thing I'm thinking about.
Right.
Scheduling and crap, did they get it done right? And do I need to go back there? And do I need to go back there and change anything? And is anybody going to get in trouble today? Because,
Right.
it's a nonstop deal, though.
And
No.
there's our conflict.
I don't
because
think
I'm not a morning person, and I'm like, oh my gosh, let me.
I don't
have the
think it's ever
coffee
going to
first.
change as far as that goes.
Right.
That part about the job is always going to be in the back of your mind. no matter what.
Well, that's what
If
makes you a
it
good
wasn't-
technician.
Yeah.
I mean, you're always worried about the customer. That's
Right.
what makes you good business owners.
I'm even
Yeah.
worried about your guys in my place right now.
Are they getting it?
Are they
getting
doing what I
done? Do they
want 'em
have?
to
Do they have all the resources they need?
Are they putting it where I actually asked them to put
Right.
it?
Yeah, no. Now that you mention it, maybe I should be worried. I'm just joking. So if you didn't do this, what would you do?
Oh, I went from a dramatic change from I used to be a waitress.
Okay, and right into
I mean, I guess you could still say it's the same. Customer service, I absolutely
Right.
love customer service. I feed on being able to, please, like, just to make the
Help
customer
people.
happy and help them out. I've gotten calls before where they're like, I've had 5 companies out here and nobody can fix it.
right.
And I'll get out there and get it all fixed. And they're like, I love you right now.
Right.
I
Those are
love
some
that
good calls.
feeling of just being able to help people and getting stuff done.
Right.
I have a
So-
current one in Flagstaff right now. She's like, I don't know what to do. We have nobody to call,
Right. You guys will figure it out.
I'll
we
figure it
we
out.
read that
Always.
too, and it's like, if we can't figure it out, then it can't be done.
Exactly.
You know,
Right.
like
We can't fix anything.
right. But so, would you go back to waitressing? Like,
I
if you didn't
I
have to do
had
that,
to,
like, what would
I
be?
don't
She
know.
still wants to
Like,
open up a cafe.
She's
on
like,
top of
you know, this is my dream. Like,
She still wants to
It
open up a
is.
cafe now.
Cafe?
I do. I mean, the customer service thing, like,
Right,
always stuck
yeah.
with me. Yeah, I think that's my retirement plan. After my kids take over and
right? Got it.
if they do well,
Right.
because
That's the follow-up question. Like, yeah, what's the plans for the business? But I want to know what you would do
As soon
if
as
you
I'm
didn't do
done,
this.
as soon as I'm done with this, and I decide I don't want to be building anymore. I don't want to be burned up every day. I don't want to be tired. As soon as
Yep.
know.
Wake up.
I'm gonna start my bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna open up my bar. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be here. It's gonna be some little place in Montana or Wyoming that's on a
Nice.
back road that nobody ever comes to except for locals, and that's about it. That's what I'm gonna do.
That sounds like an awesome time. Let us know when that happens,
Yeah.
and we'll all come.
yeah.
So the plan for business: build it up, grow, and then hand it down, pass it down.
Our kids are still little.
Right.
We've got one graduating today. But
That's
the rest
not
of
little.
them, are.
You're way
I'm
ahead of
talking,
me.
My
6 to
youngest
12.
is 6,
Oh, gotcha.
and then we have an 11 and 12.
Right.
So they haven't got their work ethic in yet.
Right.
So we have no idea.
If you ask both the boys, they want to actually do what Dad does. Our oldest son is a very, very powerful workhorse. Anyway, he's a big kid that will do what he's told and when he's told to do it, and he likes to get out there and he's got his own tool set and everything else, and he goes out there and he does it.
Right.
He does it.
That's good.
I have video of him actually welding the last gate I put together at the house. He's 12.
So let's talk about. Let's say they don't want to take over for you. They want to become an electrician or a plumber. What would your advice be to them as far as starting their own business?
Well,
School.
yeah, get some education on it first. You got to.
I still think that school's the most important education.
An apprenticeship, trade
Learn how
school.
I went to
Learn
a
how to
trade
do what
school,
you're.
Yeah.
so
Learn how to do what you want to do. Don't just jump into it blind.
Right.
Learn how to do what you want to do. If you jump into it blind, you might be okay at it. You might even be good at it.
Make
But
sure you love doing it, though.
Right.
That's the important. You got to have the heart. If the heart's not there, you're gonna hate going to work every day.
Yeah. Nobody wants to do that.
no.
That's what your old job was.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what all of our old jobs were. We hated.
Yeah,
That's why we started our own business. Words
Yeah,
of-
you've got to, the schooling is important. And, owning a company, there's so, like with me, I have the welding, the fabricating, the service, the electronics, the electrical, mechanical, and I have accounting and
Right.
and it, all of that. There is no school that does all of that, but
Right. School of hard knocks.
yeah, but if I didn't know the basics of every single little thing, if I didn't pay attention in workshop and if I didn't pay attention in math,
Right.
I wouldn't be able to do
Right.
that. I wouldn't be able to do this now. So that's probably the most important thing to me, to my kids.
Well, sounds like you guys got it all figured out,
Yeah.
or at least for now, right?
We're still learning also every day.
Appreciate you guys coming in. If you guys need any help or have any questions or need some gate work or automation, call Tina. She'll be there answering the phone. She's there right now answering the phone. The number should be down here somewhere. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Josh.
Have a good. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you like what we're doing here, subscribe to our podcast at iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher, and to our YouTube channel to see more episodes. Go to upandtotherright.org to get all the links.